crazy crazy games in the semi.
Oh,
Start with France and Spain. That game, I'm pretty sure we all were surprised. Maybe not, maybe not the result, but how the game played out.
yeah. I mean, I was a supporter of France from the very beginning, but I have to say, when you compare Spain and France run up, Spain had harder games. France didn't. And I feel like when the penalty was conceded, I think France collapsed. They didn't know what to do. They had no backup, like plan B. I feel like Spain made them look ordinary. It wasn't the fearless France that was seen attacking whatever. And I don't know if you guys agree, but at some point, Mbappe was doing his own thing. I think he was trying to go alone. Even Olise and him, the connection they had, there was no connection between them. Something collapsed completely. I don't know why it is, but you saw like France has the best players, but Spain had the best team, and ultimately the team won.
Yeah, and just for a little statistic, possession. It's the possession that was 51% to Spain, 49% to France. But I know watching the game, it definitely didn't feel like that. I think maybe in like injury time and later on when the game was finished, it probably evened out the possession stats a little bit more. It definitely felt a lot more one-sided and a lot more dominant from the Spanish.
The Spain, honestly, they dominated the midfield. For me, the midfield was excellent, was strong. I feel like France could not go through that midfield. And also, the defense was solid from Spain. Solid. I think they're the team that's considered the less so far, I think. Um,
Yeah, they've only conceded the one to Belgium. Yeah, you're right.
That's it. And I'm thinking they were excellent and they made France look like an average team, like a no, but like I don't know. But you have to think Spain, they overcame Portugal, they overcame Belgium and France. They had the hardest run up to the final out of anyone. So I think they deserve to be there, hands down.
Yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure. Um, Yeah, I mean, it was really, yeah, like we said, it was one-sided. Like you said, Spain dominated the midfield. Um, when we've watched France, we've always just marveled at like the attacking talents of like Mbappe, Dembele, Olise, those type of players. Very rarely have talked about the midfield, and like France, France fielded a midfield of Rabiot and injured too many, so he's not fully fit.
Yeah,
We had
that
Olise in
was
the
very
10.
questionable.
It was just like it was the game was done. Like the game was over from the minute they kicked the ball. I mean, I don't think like Rabiot I don't think he wasn't even like that wasn't it that game against Spain wasn't even his worst of the tournament. He had many worse games in the tournament. And one thing I always thought was Rabiot found himself on the ball way too much, especially in like the final third.
Mm.
I
Yeah.
don't think he's had a great tournament. And I mean, you can get away with it against Sweden, against Morocco to an extent, against
Back in
Uruguay,
Spain.
but then against Adiomo, against Rodri. I mean, Pedri sat out because Pedri's not had a great tournament. He's been benched and it's made very little impact because of how good the midfield is.
They have a strong midfield.
Obviously, get to the England Argentina game later, but it really shows you the importance and impact of having midfielders who can, keep the ball, can slow the tempo down, can speed it up, can, know when to stop and keep the ball and,
And
dictate.
me, for me, and Dembele, I'm sorry, but what a waste. I'm sorry for Dembele's fans. Not be true, but tell me, what has he done for the whole tournament? He had maybe one game, good game, but
One
against
final.
Spain, yeah, against Spain, where was he? He
Team.
was nowhere. You are the Ballon d'Or winner, and you get dominated. I'm thinking he had no clue what to do. I feel
Yeah.
like he was just a spectator in his own game. He was there, didn't know what's going on. He didn't read the game, and the whole team, when the penalty went in, they just collapsed. I feel like they were trying to attack, but when the penalty went in, that was the end. They just
I think
they,
we can talk about a load of different players, but I think the conversation has to start with Digne, like the fullback for France who went up against Jamal, who conceded the penalty. He was just shocking the entire game.
yeah, yeah,
It
yeah.
was one of those kind of
He considered the penalty as well, right?
yeah,
Yeah,
he kicked Jamal. I mean, he wasn't even looking. I mean, it was one of those type of performances. Like at the World Cup final the last World Cup final when Dembele got subbed out before half time, Griezmann or
yeah.
Giroud. It was that level of performance, if not worse. And I don't know how he lasted as long as he did in the game. To be honest with you,
Yeah, I was
even the
shocked as
second goal.
well.
Anyway,
To be fair, right? Like he's been a passenger all World Cup. If you notice, he just turned for the Norway game, and I think this nepotism, right, has costed Deschamps. Like I've been critical, to be honest. Like his best position is maybe in a 10 when they play a false nine. France do not play a false nine. I mean, you see Olise and Dembele, they've been switching sides and they've been failing immensely. Like it does not work. Like even in the game.
Dembele, you say.
Pardon?
Dembele you're talking about. It's Dembele you're talking about, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like to be honest, like even in the quarterfinals, right, when France they played Morocco, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah,
I remember saying this on the watch alongs as well, right? You know, they need to ditch this 4-2-3-1 because their midfield is getting beaten. I mean, imagine having a Zaire Emery in place of a Dembele, and you have Olise playing on his stronger position. I am not a fan of any of Doué or Abarcola on the left. I don't like any of them. I mean, they are workhorses, but with very little to no output at times. And we've seen this entire World Cup. They've really not delivered. And like I predicted this result, to be honest, because Spain are chaos controllers, and you need to see, all you need to go is just check the last year semi-final in the Nations League as well. They were beating France 5-1 at one point, and even in the Euros a couple of years before, they beat them like 2-1, and they had complete domination. And the same thing happened here as well. The French players were literally just running circles around them, and they
yeah,
just
yeah.
cancelled everyone out.
Yeah, and I mean,
You're totally right.
we did our predictions. Remember when we did the quarterfinal review, we did the semi-final predictions, and I said I actually predicted Spain would go through, and I made a video on it as well. And I had actually predicted Spain to win 2-0, and I actually said I know Oyarzabal and Yamal would score because I looked at the matchups of Yamal and Lucas Digne, and it's just not a good like it looks
No,
so favourable to Spain, and Yamal he just couldn't handle him. And we talk about matchups.
That was Yamal's best game as well. I've
yeah,
got to say that was
It
his
was
best
against
game.
like yeah, I mean it was against kind of quality of fullback that is so below his own level. Do you know what I mean? Like we talk about top fullbacks. I mean, like we'll get onto it. Kukura had a great game. That's the
Oh,
type
he
of
did.
quality of
Oh,
fullback that you
fantastic.
need to have against a Lamine Yamal, somebody that will get tight. Who's not afraid of the name. He's not afraid of
no,
like the aura or whatever it may be. Look at it. It looked
Fearless.
from minute one. He looked like he just didn't want to be at the. And this isn't even like some young rookie, some young debutant. Like this is a 32-year-old fullback. Like
just signed for PSG as well.
exactly. I'm just like, he's not new to this race. Of course,
No,
Yamal's a talented player, but you would have thought he's come up against players of that like level. And we talk about matchups. I think just it's a thing where at this moment in time, Spain have France's number. They
yeah,
Mm.
like we talk about France, like and they all great team, and this defeat doesn't change
Yeah,
anything
but
of it.
yeah,
But
no, the
it's
thing
just one
is,
of those things.
individually, they're great. France is great. But together, I feel like they're the plan A. They say, we're going to do this. But when the
yeah.
plan didn't work, they had no backup. Literally, I did not recognize the team that I've seen growing each match. But
Yeah,
I
but
have to
then
say, there was
when
weaknesses
the
in the
plan falls
midfield as
apart,
well.
you kind of rely on individual quality. And okay, Mbappe doesn't turn up. He had a poor game. He doesn't
Yeah,
turn
the
up against
pool, that was his
everybody
worst
else.
game.
Where's the Ballon d'Or winner? Where's
Dembele was a passenger. He was a spectator in his own game. Listen, the Olise didn't turn up. Mbappe didn't turn up. Usman Dembele didn't turn up. The defense, let's not even go to the defense. I mean, he scored a goal, it was disallowed. They were lucky not to
I
get
think Saliba's
humiliated.
injury
Yeah, that
may
was
have
a
made it
big
a bit.
blow.
Yeah.
That was a big fat blow. I'm an Arsenal fan, and I have
Oh
to say,
no.
I am not being biased, but Saliba was a rock for the defense. And when he went off injured, again, they had a plan A. Everything was there. And when something didn't work, that it collapsed. Like they didn't know what to do with Saliba gone. They were like, "Oh my days, what we're gonna do?" But that's the thing, as you said, when something doesn't work, then you need individual quality, and they didn't have that on the day. I feel like the pressure, and also I think this is the third time on the road losing to Spain.
Yeah.
So I believe that Spain had a game plan, and they also had a backup plan in case. But France was just they were yeah.
The thing is, this game had Ryan Cherky written all over it because even last year, right, when Spain were literally winning 5-1, as soon as Ryan Cherky had come, I mean, I think he came in around the 80th minute, and this guy dragged the game and he brought it to 5-4. And as soon as this guy came, he was literally making things happen. That's when shots started going in. That's when France started penetrating the defense, and
Yeah.
it was so you.
Sorry.
And then you can go. You can go. That's all I would want to say.
Oh yeah, yeah. I was saying I agree. Like to an extent, like I remember in that game you're talking about, he scored one insane volley. It was a crazy volley. But like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I also think like the form he was in coming into this semi-final game, like of course he's playing limited minutes because Elisa is the starter, but he didn't look good at all in any of the cameos
Nope.
that he made.
Nope.
So it's hard to kind of come into a game like I don't think any of us would have ever started Turkey over Elisa. So of course Turkey's always going to come off the bench. So I think it's
No,
only
that's what I'm saying. Like the reason Deschamps was literally sacrificing a position to field Dembele. Like I think every game they alternated positions. If either it was Olise starting in the 10 and Dembele starting in the right, or the vice versa. And in game they were switching positions so many times. I'm like, if it's not working, throw it away, ditch it, get a
Mm.
player who actually plays in that position. And Cherky was coming off a good season. I mean, you know, if you had a Cherky in the 10 and if you had Olise where he actually thrives, game would have been different. But because of the nepotism or whatever you can call it, like, you have to feel this guy for some reason, who's literally, been a ghost the entire tournament apart from the
had a
Norway
good
game.
half an hour against Norway's B team, but like
That's
his
it.
stats are so
That's,
deceiving. His
yeah.
numbers are completely deceiving. Um,
Absolutely.
I had a slight argument kind of debate with some people on my TikTok channel, and it was like arguing about the X level of Dembele's performances, and of course this was kind of like this was like the person arguing for Dembele was just 7J. I think he has 5 goals to assist. Like how could he have been bad? How could he have been this and that? But every game of what he's struggled to beat his man 1v1. And I don't even think it's been a thing where he's been doubled like someone like Yamal gets doubled because you can't double him when you've got Mbappe and Elise. Like
I don't even think anyone was on him because
exactly because
he was no
he's his
threat.
man. He doesn't create.
Yeah. Lamine, that was his best game today. I've got to say, I've been very critical of him, but before France game, Lamine wasn't great. He wasn't great. Let's be real. He wasn't. He was there. He was not even like trying as like we. I know people say, "Oh, but he's only 19." I'm sorry, but when you were the star player in the Euro, you were 16 or 17. I don't. You can't tell me that. The thing
Yeah.
is, this game was a turnaround. My man was attacking non-stop. France were bullied by a 19-year-old.
But
It's true.
do you think it was a good game, or do you think it was a good game compared to what we've seen of him at this World Cup?
It was a good game for him and a good game for the team because I did say Spain to me, they didn't look really like they were really, I don't know to say that they're real contenders, but for me the turning point, I have to go back to the Portugal game when they tried really to get into the Portugal defense. And at the end, Mourinho saw an opportunity and scored, didn't waste time. And I thought that was a turnaround because that gave them boost against
Yeah.
Belgium. And against Belgium, they started to build that momentum, which resulted in what we saw against France. So they're gonna go into the final feeling confident, feeling, you know what? We beat the top 10 teams, so we are ready. So
I,
Lamine had a very good game.
yeah, I think for me with Yamal, it's been he's been more of a moments kind of player as opposed to kind of player who's kind of dominated the tournament. You know, when you think of
Mm.
the fact that Spain are at the World Cup final, you'd have thought he's kind of had like at least a couple games, like how Mbappe did when he was a teenager in 2018. Where he had games where he dominated and it was about him and he kind of took him through. I don't think Yamal's had that. He's had kind of, like I said, moments. Like I remember, of course, he scored against was it Saudi Arabia? I know he had a really good first off against Austria against Lima, where he was completely destroyed every time he took him on. But like as a whole, I don't think his World Cup campaign has been great. It's definitely not been
No, no, you're
anywhere
right.
near as
But
good
this
as
game, France
um,
game was the best. That was the best.
yeah.
Before that,
Even the
it
best out of
wasn't.
all the games he's played. I think like you said, moments. He had the penalty moment where he won it. He had his disallowed goal. You know, as an overall game, I think he was okay. I don't think it was great, but I think he did make his contributions to the win. So
I mean, the system made him look good. I mean, what I call the win was basically a systematic, organized demolition. Like when you when you circle players, like when the French players had to literally, it was like a ringer roses game where they were literally trying to get the ball, like catch and cook or whatever you can call it. When you have players who cannot touch the ball, you've got so many vacant spaces, you've got pockets, and when you have a Dini against a Yamal, it's always going to be a mismatch. And I think De La Fuente's system just gave him the freedom and no pressure
Mhm.
because again, against Portugal, he came against the Nuno Mendes, and you also have João Neves who was time on time, going on him. But what you say, this game he had the freedom of the park, and probably why he had the best game again.
Yeah.
yeah,
So I've got to say, yeah, you're right, guys. The system make him look good, but also that game. But yes, a shame because prior to that, he wasn't. He hasn't been as good. Like everybody was expecting him to be the star of the World Cup, and
Yeah,
I feel like he came up short, very short.
yeah. I mean, like you know, of course he's done the final, but I mean, you have to give credit to some of the other. Like I mean, we mentioned Cucurella, Rodri.
Rodri.
Rodri
You
should
know,
get
I
the
think
praise.
Rodri saw Fuente drop Pedri, and Rodri realized, damn, I'm not undroppable. And so he really had to lock in and perform like Rodri can because he was great.
Rodri has been amazing.
Against France. He was really, really good. Like we talk about controlling the tempo of the game. We talk about doubling up on players like Mbappe, Elise when they did have the ball to take the ball away from them as quickly as possible. We talk about progressing the ball, all of that. Rodri did all. He was great. And Momo as well. You know, the whole midfield really kind of did that all because, like we said, this game was won in the midfield.
Yeah,
Yeah,
hands down. And you know what you said? You know what? When you look back at the game, you were right because when you said, "Oh, France when they arrived, they already lost the game." I have to say the tempo from the get go, first half, Spain definitely dominated. You could see that they would not allow France to go
no.
free, and they had the plan. I think they studied France as well because every touch they made, immediately the player was tackled. There was no, basically you can't come to my half and score a goal. We're not gonna let that happen. And they had a game plan that worked, and whatever was gonna work, they had a backup plan. Yeah, everything was on point. They
What
they, they
was
were gonna win.
what was beautiful to watch as well, right? Like when I was watching the game live, it's like it was so well drilled in them that the triangles were forming literally everywhere, every passage, every passing play. I mean, if you look at it horizontally, vertically, there were
Yeah,
triangles just forming everywhere, and they were switching up these triangles so beautiful. I mean, the French could not get anywhere
no,
close.
they tried. They tried so
Yeah.
hard, and at the end, I don't know if you guys saw, they even went alone. Like some of them tried to score way outside the box. I'm thinking, but that's not how it works. You need
No.
to play together. You need to connect. Like Olise was, I feel like Mbappe was isolated at some point. Like was on his own a lot. So you know what, the game plan, like you said, was perfect. I saw the triangles as well. Like every time the French touch, that's it. They had this connection. I don't know. They were psychics. They're like, oh, he's there. Okay, this is what we're gonna do. Like
Exactly.
they were good. No, that was amazing. I've got to
Yeah, I
say
mean, we've
that
talked.
game,
Yeah,
Spain impressed me. I loved
yeah.
it.
We talked a lot about when Spain were on the ball, but I mean, the very few times France were on the ball and tried to attack. I mean, that high line, gave Mbappe a lot of problem. I mean, Unai Simons was really looked like prime Neuer in how he used to keep a keeper. He was always out there.
Yeah.
When you're watching on the TV, you can't see the goalkeeper, and you feel like Mbappe's in. He's in, and Unai Simons is there to get rid of it, and he got it out of danger. I don't recall him clearing it into a dangerous area. Every time he got there first, and he got it out of danger. And
Yeah.
wasn't really any problems.
No.
And I think we've talked so much about Spain. I mean, we should start talk a little bit more about France and their main player that started playing Mbappe. Um, he struggled really heavily with that in
Yeah.
general, but he
Poor
also struggled
game.
with
Poor game.
high line. I remember in the first half he was caught a lot offside, and it reminded me of that
Yeah.
first El Clasico we played against
Mm.
Barcelona. It kind of has similarities to Barcelona. Kubasi was in there, who another player had a great game. The high line, the sweeper keeper. He really struggled with the offsides, and I think he had 3 shots and none of them were on target, or yeah, something like that. No shots on target. You
No.
think of it, World Cup Mbappe is kind of like almost unstoppable, and it almost feels weird that he's not in a World Cup final. Like that's the first time he's lost a
It's
game in
weird, yeah, it's
history.
weird. But you know what? Overall, in the game, France doesn't deserve it. You can't play like that in
No,
the
they don't.
final. You
Yeah.
you just can't. Like, if something doesn't work well, you have to go. You need to have a backup plan. And I feel like Didier Deschamps did not have a backup plan. For
No.
him, in his mind, this is what we're gonna do, and that's it. But no, it doesn't work like that. Half time, you got time to change things around. If you look at the game, there was like, what can we do to penetrate and score? Like, I feel like there was no. I think for me, Deschamps was done. It's like, you know what? I'm not gonna be the manager anymore. I don't know. That's my opinion, but I feel like, you know what? Yeah, I've done what I can, and yeah, I think Zidane will definitely bring something extra because they didn't
Yeah.
have no inspiration. They didn't have, and the thing is coming from somebody that won the World Cup before as a player, as a manager. You can't say, oh, like, you know what, these things happen. No, man, you are in no position to offer excuses. You needed to provide answers, and you didn't have anything. So yeah, I think this
Like
it's a time for a new era for France because right now that was bad. I
like
think that was one
mid
of the
game as
worst
well.
performances I've seen.
Like mid game as well, right? Like when nothing was clicking. Deschamps could have also deployed Dembele to lead the lines. I mean, that's what he does for PSG, right? Leading the lines. And we all know Mbappe's best position is on the left. Could have easily done that. Could have substituted Barcola. Barcola was useless. Again, a player not talked because you don't see him at all. Whether he's on the bench, whether he's playing, you never see Barcola. The only time you'll see Barcola is when he actually misses chances,
Yeah,
you know?
sadly, yeah.
And which could have easily could have put Mbappe on the left. He could have made things happen. Ryan Cherky was the perfect player to bring on at halftime. Thuram was injured, I believe. That's why they didn't have a focal point. I don't trust Mateta that much, especially in a World Cup semi-final. A lot of things could have been done. A lot of things could have been tweaked. But again,
And Deschamps, he blamed the referee. I'm sorry, but the referee did nothing wrong. The referee did nothing wrong. Your
there's
team
a
did everything wrong.
Yeah,
You should have taken accountability as a manager to say, you know what? I had this game plan, it didn't work, and basically, yeah, it's on me. I don't know, but put your hand up. You know what? I messed up. But blame it on the referee.
your guys' opinion on this, right? We know, of course, Alita got substituted in the 72nd minute. We know he had a poor game. He
He
did.
did.
But isn't there like the thought of you keep your best players on the pitch just in case, and then also in that same vein, if Elise came off in the 72nd minute, why would why should Dembele stay on?
Yeah, I didn't get that.
Like I personally, I kind of thought, I kind of agree with you in a sense. I think they should kind of looked at this Spain team and you realize, we're outmatched. We can't compete really. And he kind of just almost threw in the white flag. I mean, at least they came off in the 72nd minute. I'm not saying he played well. I'm not saying he deserved to stay on, but I'm just saying if Elise is going to come off, why should
Dembele should
Dembele
have
stay
gone
on
as
the
well.
pitch?
I should have gone. He should have gone earlier even because Dembele, from I've got to say the whole match, it was so forgettable. I even forgot it was there. That's how bad it was because we look again. Let's remind ourselves, it's a Ballon d'Or winner. What he does for PSG, I did not see that for for the whole tournament. Pretty much, I have to be honest. I haven't.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because the thing with Dembele is the thing where he can't really, like he doesn't tend to really, at least this kind of newer version of Dembele since the kind of his kind of rebirth, he doesn't really in a way create for himself if you think about it. Like with PSG, as we know, they employ a high press. They press high,
Hmm.
they win the ball high up in advantageous positions. Because they're in such advantageous positions close to the penalty box, it's an easy pass into Dembele to make that to score the goal. So I'm not saying his goals are scored are easy because of course he has to press hard, he has to win it, he has to finish it. But in a game like this against Spain, if he's passed the ball maybe 20 yards, 25 yards away from goal, he's not exactly, at least this version of Dembele now. I mean, Barcelona, he was a very different player. He used to beat players. It was his finishing. His overall game was there, but his finishing was lacking. Whereas now he's not lacking overall game, but his game is more focused on the finishing aspect. So he doesn't create for himself. So, like I said, 20 yards, 25 yards away from goal, he's not going to do anything. He's not going to, beat a couple men and get a good shot off and beat and playing a ball to Mbappe. So it kind of he was negated, and then Cucurella had a masterclass. He was brilliant. So kind of
Yeah.
just
Oh, this
negated him.
guy,
So it
I
was
like his energy. I don't know. The guy's in his 30s. I love that energy. I really do. And I feel like it makes the back four solid. I mean, the defense for Spain solid. It adds this wall, like basically no one can really penetrate and score goals. I love it. I
and
have
he's
to say it's going to
arguably
be interesting, the final. You have a defending team like Spain and an attacking team like Argentina. It's going to be really like defense versus attack. It's going to be so good.
I mean outside of the semi final against France, arguably his best showing has been going forward, attacking, creating with crosses and his runs in behind. It was only really because he hasn't really been, I guess, tested that much in previous games. I know he's played Portugal, but they didn't really give him much of a test. Pedro Neto isn't going to really challenge him that much. It's been more his offensive game that's impressed. But the semi final was his full defensive capabilities that Chelsea fans know um, only on show in the semi finals.
Yeah,
Which
I
is
have to
really
say I'm
underrated
so
at
happy
this
to see
point.
him
Like he's been
go to
the best player.
Real Madrid. I think Real Madrid is going to be a great asset there, and they still have 2 years into him. But frankly, Chelsea, I feel like they had the season to forget because the guy was so underrated. Because he's actually such a good player, so good, and I love the way he, he's playing a key part in the Spanish team. I love it. I love it. I became a fan of this guy. I would say I'm not Chelsea fan, but I really admire his qualities. I think he's amazing. But the midfield of Spain, that has to be praised because that midfield has carried them to the final. They've been really dominant in the area. Really. Rodri, I mean, what the hell? That guy is just on point. I feel like he's carrying the Spanish team right now. Yeah, very good.
Was Pedri starting the World Cup final?
No,
I'm not sure.
I would stick to the same midfield trio. I mean, Fabian is much
Yeah,
better. Pedri, the only criticism I have about him is he dictates the game, yes, but 60% of the time he just slows down. I mean, it's a lot of side pass. It's very similar to Alcantara when he used to play. I mean, we know for his line breaking passes, but that would come after like 50 to 60 passes of back passes, side passes. I think he slows down the game. Fabian is more direct. Olmo is more direct. Rodri is a destroyer. Perfect midfield trio.
Yeah, why fix if it ain't broken, really? Because if this is working so far, why
Exactly.
changing it? There's no point. Leave it like that. And you know
He's
what? I'm
also
sure the
been
manager.
prone to being dispossessed recently as well, which is you kind of usually don't associate that with Spanish players. But when I've watched him at the World Cup, um, very often he's getting dispossessed or loose touches, poor passes, and like you said, Olmo, Fabian. I think they've got more of a goal in them, or they're more of a goal threat than somebody like Pedri. I mean, Fabian Ruiz scored against Belgium, the opening goal when he was replaced. So yeah, no, I agree with you. I personally don't think Pedri's going to
Stick
start.
to that because if something is wrong, trust me, the manager will use the half time and also the hydration break to find a way to change it. I'm sure. So me personally, they should keep the way it is for now because it's working so far.
Mm. Um, so do we consider this campaign from France a failure, considering the talent? I mean, this is a team that we compared to Brazil of the late 90s, early 2000s. When they had that trio, Ronaldinho, and Rivaldo.
Yeah,
So great football
he's a
from
failure. I'll be honest. He
we
is.
saw great football from this France that we can't forget that some great goals. I mean, Mbappe, I even said before the game against Spain, win, lose or draw, he's had a great tournament. And in my opinion, second only to Messi in terms of performance in this tournament. So, do we consider this French team a disappointment, or is it just they've been beaten by a team that have their number? I mean, it happens a lot in football. I mean, matchups are really important. I don't know
Yeah.
if you guys will remember, every time Tottenham would always beat City. Nobody thinks
Yeah.
Tottenham is as good as Manchester City is, but matchups, it's just the way matchups work sometimes. It works in loads of sports as well. Like I know NBA, you can have a team that are the best team, but they just don't match up well. And I mean, I just don't think France match up well with Spain for the reasons we've said, like the wide players and the fullbacks, the high line and the attacking
I mean,
players. So is it really a failure or?
I disagree, to be honest. I don't think it's a failure. Failure would be Germany or Netherlands, I mean, that's the beauty of knockout competitions. It does not matter how your form is, how you've been playing. It really matters how you play in those 90 minutes. I mean, just analyzing France's tournament, they've beaten teams, they've grinded out results, they've conceded very few, they've scored a lot of goals. I mean, again, it's a semi-final. It's not easy reaching the semifinals of a World Cup. You could easily end up being dumped out like a Germany or not even qualify like an Italy.
And they went a goal down through just like I don't know. I don't want to say like stupidity, but just a bad mistake. Sloppiness.
Yeah, yeah,
Didn't
yeah.
need to concede a penalty like that.
I mean, again, like it's another hearsay, Uh, it's not. I mean, when you come against a Yamal, for example, he's someone who plays out of syllabus football. I mean, which is lacking in a lot of wingers. He's someone with those trickery, this jinky majinky stuff with like tricky feet, and you don't get to see in those wingers, which is why he is unique in what he is and offers as a player. And when you come up against him, you don't know what to expect, and you will have moments of sloppiness unless you're a seasoned veteran defender, which was expected of Digne but didn't happen. So yeah, I wouldn't call this campaign a failure at all,
Yeah, I
in
have
my
to be
opinion.
50-50 on this one because the potential was there. They had everything going on for them. And to come up short, especially in the semi-final when you yourself expected to reach a final with I mean, the squad is a dream. It is, but at the same time, you're right in the sense that they've gone far still. Semi final is still a great achievement. But squad like that, I don't know if they can repeat what they could have had this World Cup for the next one. I'm not sure. We
I
don't
mean,
know what
France.
Zidane's gonna do. We don't know who's gonna come in. We don't know who's gonna leave. This was a golden opportunity.
I mean, France always have had a stacked team. I mean, doesn't matter which World Cup. I mean, my first World Cup was 2006. You had Zidane, you had Henri, you had your Manuel Petit, you had Vieira. 2010, failure, but you had Ribéry, you had Malouda, you had lots of people. I mean, even last World Cup as well. You had Varane, you had I highly rate Giroud as well, so I'm going to put him in that
Griezmann.
list. Then you had Pogba, you had N'Golo Kante. This World Cup, as they always have a stacked team, no matter what. So even next World Cup, they're always going to be contenders.
But that's the when you set yourself high. Me honestly, the first time I ever witnessed the World Cup was '94. France wasn't even there. They were not even there. They were not even in the competition.
Hmm.
98, and I remember the buzz. I don't know if you guys were around that
No,
time,
I
but
was 1 year
basically
old.
from 24 teams in 94 to 32 teams. I lived in Switzerland. The buzz was so much. Everybody was like, "Oh yeah," because Brazil as well at the time they
Yeah,
were one of the best teams. Like nobody could compete with Brazil, and your France out of nowhere every game winning, and the final that was a sick final. Like what they've done, they changed the whole history by themselves. And as you said, every time they come, they have great players, high standard, high class. They always expected to go far, and they have. Obviously, there's some World Cups that you should forget about. The French team, they come with so much power, so much excitement. I feel like in a sense it's expected of them. I don't know if that makes
yeah.
sense, but it's an expectation. I feel maybe Mbappe feel like all my days, but like the expectation is too high. But you won the World Cup when you were 18.
But then I
Like
think it's also kind of, in a way, despite the immense talent, it's just also kind of unrealistic expectation because how many nations go to three straight World Cup finals? Like I mean,
Yeah.
like Cafu did it. I know Cafu played in three straight.
yeah, Cafu
I
did
don't
it, yeah.
think any other
And you won
player.
two out of out of three. So my guy was
Exactly,
like on fire.
exactly. But then even then, he lost in the final. He lost pretty convincingly in the final. So it's kind of like you can never be. I know it's over 4 years, so the teams change a bit. It's like, but
Yeah,
you can never
Ronaldo
ever
went to
be.
three finals. Don't forget my Ronaldo.
But he didn't play. He didn't
He
play. Well,
didn't
he was
play
part of the
fully, but he
squad.
still
Yeah, yeah.
went.
He
Like, I'm
definitely
sorry,
still
but
went.
it's
But
he's my favorite player, man. I'm
yeah,
sorry.
yeah.
Ah.
R9, he's the reason why I love football so much. This guy alone is the reason I love football so much. But
You think
honestly,
the
Mbappe, I
comparisons
think
between him
there's
and
gonna
Mbappe are
be
crazy?
there's at least one World Cup in him, at least two. One or two.
Two, I think he's 27, 28, if I'm not
Yeah, I
wrong.
think you know what? I think this guy is gonna bring it home again. I think so.
He will. I believe there is another World Cup with France. And again, like another thing to remember, France did have to grind out. I mean, they did play fair and square. They didn't have favorable conditions, favorable decisions, unlike another team in the final. You know,
Get to that. We'll get to that
We're
because
gonna
there's
get to that
definitely
one. I
some
can't wait.
disagreements on that
I
end.
can't wait either.
Um, yeah. So, do you think we were talking about online? Do you think comparison between him and Mbappe are crazy, or do you think they're pretty? I mean, he scored 8 goals at this tournament. He scored 8 goals at the last tournament. Um, Kind of similar to online, who scored 8 goals back in 2002. But online, of course, won the trophy. I'd actually ask. We can do this if we rank the three campaigns. So R9 from 2002, Kylian Mbappe this tournament, and his previous one back in 2022. Could like rank them in order, best to
I
worst.
have to say, I'm not being biased, but Anand's achievement in 2002 was second to none. Like this guy carried the whole team of Brazil. And he had. I mean, look at people around like Mbappe. You have Olise in the belly, but look at Ronaldo. You had Ronaldinho and Rivaldo. Like, if whatever reason that guy had a bad game, they would step up automatically. Like done. Like
Kaka
I
as
don't
well.
know. It was yeah. It was sick.
And he was coming back as well from injury, which I think makes his story and kind of like legacy even greater. To come back from injury and to get to top scorer in the World Cup, to score 2 goals in the final against Germany. It's
That was an achievement. That was great. I loved it. Me, I mean, I've been following Brazil. I mean, they are the reason why I started to watch football. But that team, I expected France to be at that level. I really do, and I think they will. Again, I think that they will. I think this is not the last we've seen them. I think they'll come back. They'll learn the lesson. And in Zidane, who best can lead them to glory than somebody that won 3 Champions League in a row, somebody that's won the World Cup himself, won the Euro. I think they're in good hands. France, we should not worry about them.
Yeah.
They're gonna come back stronger than what we see now. So I think they're in good hands, very good hands.
we can switch over to, because we spoke a lot now about France and Spain. So we can switch over to England and Argentina.
Wow.
Do you want to?
Where do you want to
Does
start?
anybody have anything they want to say just off the gate, off the cup?
So for me personally, England dominated, and you expected them to go all the way. Now, why did the manager, after England went ahead, why would you park the bus? Why would you invite Argentina to play in your half? That made no sense. What they should have done, they should have continued attacking to score the second goal. Because Argentina, you cannot never have them attack you. They're gonna attack and score. That's exactly
Yeah.
what happened. And I saw it happening when they have it was the 5 defenders. I just saw Argentina coming back more aggressive, more strong, and eventually they scored. What 2 goals in within 7 minutes or 6 minutes of each other. So I think the manager should take the full blame for what happened. Because the players did well, they did what they were told, and it was going well. I was like, oh yes, they scored a goal. Yes, I was expecting them to attack and carry on, but the manager dumb decision to basically park the bus fully that cost
Yeah.
England the game big time.
I mean, Argentina for me, like, they've just got two tactics. Like, the first one is what he usually starts with, the 4-4-2 diamond. And then when it does not work, which it hasn't worked throughout in the knockout stages, it's passed the Lord to Messi and, Lord, here are prayers, basically. And it works. And why the 5-3-2 failed for Tuchel again, like, we know it's a very defensive system again, but when you have five defenders, you tend to not mark the wingers. And we've seen this fail when he was at Chelsea, when Oli used to try and do that at United as well. And leaving Messi with acres of space, I mean, that's a criminal charge in itself.
That's sabotage.
That
It's
is,
so
again, like, when they scored, when Gordon scored, I mean, Argentina, I remember discussing this on the watch along. They had just one shot on target and just two or three attempts on goal in the first half. England were literally canceling them out. But as
yeah.
soon as, I mean, as much as I, like, my opinions on Messi, like, whatever I have, just keeping them aside, he can turn water into wine, basically, and that's what he can do. I mean, as
And
soon
he's
as he
39. 39, and look how he's playing still like in his 20s or since he started his career. I mean,
there needs to be a doping test done on that man. I was saying this, like, how can a man at the age of 39 move like that?
Like
But again,
he's like he's. I don't understand how he's going past players in their prime, players who are in their prime. I mean,
I
exactly.
don't get it.
did you see that bit in the first half where he dropped Kane? Kane went on his back, then he brushed off Gordon, then
I
Oh, that
it
was
was like it was crazy. I mean, I have like a couple slightly different. Like I thought the first half was just more of just like a fight, like it's just a scrap. I don't think you said Argentina only had like 2 shots. I don't think England had too many more, to be honest.
no,
I think the
not on
first half
target.
was more like a fight than it. I mean, the first 5 minutes, I think it was.
Enzo should
Anderson.
have been booked.
Yeah, Anderson was just getting up
Simeone should have been booked.
something
Yeah,
like that. Yeah,
Simeone, yeah, big time. And that's the thing I don't like with Argentina right now. I feel like everything is favoring them to win. So when you have that
no, but
support,
I think England gave as much as they got. I mean, you think of there were a lot of challenges on Messi that you had the Anderson one. You had I think there was one on Bellingham. There were a few challenges. And I think that's what Bellingham and Messi had their discussion about. And I think it's become a bit of a meme if you check it online. That
Yeah, but he got booked as well, right? Elliot Anderson got booked as well for it. But Enzo
yeah,
never
for
got.
the one
Enzo
where
didn't get
Jed
booked.
Spence
Simeone didn't get booked. That's the thing. I mean,
oh, no, sorry, no, stop,
But then
stop.
it's also like a difference in like there was different
Oh, I see you have to stop here. I'm online here.
there was difference in like contact, in the full contact because when you think about Argentina's fouls are tiki taki fouls, Argentina's fouls are to slow the game down to rattle your feathers. Whereas the ones that
nah,
Messi
man,
were
come
to
on.
stop him, the ones that Messi were grounded and were to floor him, I don't think they didn't have to foul players like Enzo Fernandez that much. Players like um, Alvarez, it was more Messi ones were harder. I don't feel as though Argentina, there was anybody that Argentina, to my recollection, really kind of flawed. Do you know what I mean? Really knocked down in a similar way that it was
It's
for Messi.
because when teams play expansive football, Argentina are as a team are very compact because of the tiki taka thing. When it's expansive, their players are just widespread. And the reason why you don't need to put a man on Enzo or an Alvarez is because they're basically cancelled out. Because Enzo needs time on the ball. You and I know it very well.
Sure.
Alvarez, I don't know what position he plays again. England, the thing is, they were switching balls aerially. There were a lot of long passes, lots of diagonal switches, and that's what was cancelling Argentina out. Even when Gordon scored, I mean, it was a long ball to Morgan Rogers. Rogers just
He just
squares it
moved
up
the
in the
ball.
box.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Exactly, and when you spread out Argentina, that's when they struggle.
It's because they're good. Like we said, they're an old team. They have maybe like an
Yeah,
average of about 50, and that's what's so crazy about the this Thomas Tuchel's game plan. If it were up to me, of course, we're not
Um,
game manager. There's more pressure. There's more, like there's more to it than just saying this and that. But surely the game plan would have been to wear them out, to make them run, to hit them on the break. And you can sit back, but you need to have an outlet. I mean, Harry
yeah,
Kane was deeper than Jude Bellingham. Harry Kane was as deep as Anderson. I don't know, I just don't understand why one of the best strikers in the world, a player who's got a good touch, who can control the ball, who can look after the ball, why he can't just push up like 5 or 10 yards higher, just so that they have an
yeah,
outlet. Every time the ball went in, even if the cross was poor, even if the cross wasn't that good, it just was recycled back to him and just came back to
yeah.
Messi. And like you keep saying,
ah,
you allow Messi time and space to pick out a pass, to allow him to literally get onto his left foot, look and play is criminal. You're asking to lose. I
you're
mean,
Agreed,
asking for it. You're asking
agreed.
for it. And I have to say, yeah, this is the game where I respected Messi more. Before I was like, oh, you know what, they're getting favors, whatever. But the game was against England. The way England was punished, like you, you know, you started so well, like especially when you scored against them, they had no answer. But when they decided to park the bus,
Oh,
you invited them to
yeah.
attack you. You invited them to bully you, and that's exactly what they did.
yeah.
I
They
mean, the
really did not stop. They were. You had 5 minutes, 5 minutes, 1-0, and you lose 2-1. No, that's criminal. You allowed, like you said, you allowed Messi room and space to do
yeah,
what he always does.
McAllister himself hit the post about 2 times. Um, Alvarez had chances. I mean, Simeone had that chance where Jed Spence, singing him, he was incredible, I thought.
yeah.
Forward and
Agreed.
backwards. I thought he was great. And I think he has been great this tournament. But yeah, like we said, I mean, I think they have chances. I'm, going to maybe say something slightly controversial. I want to know what your guys' opinions on this is, right? I agree that England should have pushed on more for the second goal. I don't think sitting back, especially as deep as they did and as compact and as narrow as they did, I don't think that was the right call. However, we talked about Spain and their midfielders' quality and their ability to keep the ball. when the game needs to be sped up, they can quickly play passes, spray passes. When it needs to slow down, they can turn, they can keep it well, they can shield it, they can, I guess, in a way, play those sideways passes and those backwards passes to keep the ball. When you look at England's midfield, you look at Bellingham, you look at Rice, you look at Anderson, three players who are all over £100 million. Particularly in the case of Jude Bellingham and Declan Rice, feel more like athletes who could play the game as
Yeah.
opposed to kind of midfield maestros in a way. Like I know Pedri's had a poor tournament, like Vitinha's had a poor tournament, but that type. I kind of like I'm not comparing the two, but kind of like midfield like Iniesta, Xavi. I'm not saying Bellingham and Rice should be like that, but and Iniesta and Xavi would have been able to control the ball more, look after the ball. Hold, them holding the ball can then allow England to push up. But players like Bellingham and Rice favor more the athletic gifts. The fact that they're 6 foot plus, they're strong, they can run for ages, they can tackle, they can. But the kind of art of midfield, if you will, in
Mm.
controlling the ball, dictating the play, dictating the tempo, and I think Thomas Tuchel may have, because you need to think. So Thomas Tuchel has been the manager of England since January of 2025. That's 18 months. He's watched plenty of film of Argentina. So I've come to the conclusion that I think he came to the conclusion that he does not have the midfield or the players, not just the midfielders, to keep the ball from Argentina. So the best option was to sit back, like they did against Mexico, like they did against Norway, because they just don't have the personnel to keep the ball, like Spain could, or like a team with a good midfield could.
I,
What do you guys think, Steve?
no, no, no. That's a very fair point because again, you and I know Thomas Tuchel's favorable formation is a five at the back. And when he played, when I mean, we had players like Jorginho, and who would spray the ball, who would distribute and stuff. Again,
Kovacic could keep the ball.
Kovacic could dribble past. I don't think we've had a decent midfield since the holy trinity of Lampard, Gerrard, and Scholes. I
Yeah,
think,
definitely not as a combination. No, definitely not as a combination. Definitely not.
yeah, I mean the IQ I think has been coached out of the players with this modern tactics. These, when it's more like a chess game rather than kickabout in the streets. I mean Declan Rice, good career. Jude Bellingham is a box crasher. Elliot Anderson, I don't rate him much. I mean he can come in the same bracket as a Wharton. I think this game really needed Eze to like an
Yeah,
Eze
Rashford
or
early on. Yeah,
or I mean even like a what you say Morgan Gibbs White. I mean he of course he wasn't there. People crying for Cole Palmer, Foden. I mean I don't think this game would have favored them either. To be honest, Cole Palmer's not a midfielder. Foden's not a midfielder. Yes, they're creative, but they cannot do the job in the positions where it was needed. And I think we just ran out of quality, and Argentina had that to make things happen. 5-3-2,
yeah,
what he
so much
played.
quality.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't expect England to fold the way they did because I mean, even when you got sent off, when Concha got sent off against Mexico, I wasn't vexed at any point because I knew this guy knows how to grind out results. And I was in 100% support of the statement he put up as well that he does not regret it because that's a formula tried and tested and succeeded as well.
Yeah, and I mean, it may as well just be a thing where, like we say, England might just not have the kind of talent in their squad to
Yeah.
warrant a World Cup title. I mean, this is the World Cup. This isn't a Community Shield. This is you have to be
Yeah.
really good to win it. And I mean, beating Congo, Mexico, Norway in a run to the that's not mind-boggling stuff. I mean, I know they like to play it out as if it's something crazy, but that's a given. I think if France would have blown by them, I think Spain would have. I think Argentina. I mean, even though Argentina made tough work of their run to the semi-final, I don't know. I just think maybe the quality of England maybe overstated a bit. I
We
think
have to be on. Well, let's be honest on something. And I know you guys might find this controversial, but for the whole tournament, I don't even think England has been that great. The one game that I've got to say they had that quality was Mexico. The rest, I don't know. They were always lacking
Croatia as
something.
well. They played well against Croatia.
Croatia, yes, but you have to concede, lose concentration before you realize, I can actually beat this team. I
Did
think
you?
I was saying that I feel like the whole tournament, England hasn't. For me, that's my opinion, but I don't think they've been that great. The one game I could say, yeah, I rate them high was against Mexico, because even against Croatia, there was a lot of scares. They had to go halftime to come back with new ideas and to concede two goals like that. I don't
Yeah.
know. I mean, it's a good comeback story, but overall, we have to be honest. Do they deserve to go in the final? I'm not sure. I don't think so. And they're gonna fight. I mean, France against them is gonna be a tough game for England. Very tough. So let's see.
I mean, we had a better team last. I mean, like I think our golden generation. I mean, can't even call it golden to be honest. Was wasted with Southgate. I mean, comparing our midfield and our players last World Cup, we lacked quality everywhere. I mean, we had a Grealish. We had. I mean, I think Henderson would have done a job here. I mean, again, you need leaders when it's time when it
But
in times
Declan
like
Rice
these.
was is it me or was it the guy injured in the first place?
Declan
He
Rice.
must have been because I thought he was a ball. Outside of set pieces, but
Mm.
even then, his set pieces weren't good this tournament.
Yeah, yeah. I felt like the guy he gave his whole to Arsenal, but when it was time for England, I don't think he did as good. To be honest, I don't think he did. I expected him to connect, with Bellingham, with Kane, and I didn't see that. And I think he wasn't even meant to play for against Argentina, but somehow he insisted
Yeah.
on going. But I'm thinking, if you're not fully fit, especially a game of this magnitude, you should never have been allowed on the pitch in the first place. So
Yeah, but I mean,
I like
you
Declan
could be on
Rice,
the
but
pitch. But then, I mean, if you're going to be on the pitch, at least make yourself useful. Like we've said, Declan Rice didn't really offer too much, particularly going forward. His set pieces
no.
were lackluster. So
Yeah, and
concentrate
I'm a
yourself. Why don't you
massive
just put
Declan
yourself on
Rice,
Messi?
but
I mean, like,
it was a waste. It could have somebody else could have played better. Especially
Think
against Argentina. You need your best players fit. You don't need somebody that's halfway. No, it doesn't work like that.
thing about Declan Rice is like, and I tell you why I don't rate this guy. I mean, decent midfielder, but for someone looking outside the Arsenal bubble, a lot of players when you pull outside the Arsenal setup, a lot of them look very decent. Or I mean, Gabriel Magalhaes as well. It's that
he's a
closed system that makes him look good. I mean, when you guys played in the 2023 season, he was rubbish. I mean, as soon as Saliba went off injured in that first bottle season, he was bad. And it's the same with Declan Rice as well. Like, when you're playing this compact, when you sit back, when you don't have much to attack, when you're not influencing games, of course you're not gonna have ideas. And even if you do, these are things coached out.
But then, and as well, I agree with that. And I also just think it goes back to the same, just not talented enough to win it. Like, I mean, we're talking about them well because they reached the semi final. But imagine, I don't know, imagine some maybe favorable draws here and there. Maybe what if they face Spain in the 16? They go out around the 16, and we look at this England team very differently, and that's why it's a thing of quality. I mean, like Jude Bellingham, he had a good tournament in terms of particularly his output as well. But you talk about general midfield play, especially as a number 10. Like, it didn't, I didn't see. I felt every game watching England was watching them try and survive. I understand they went down to 10 men against Mexico. No disrespect to Mexico, there should be a clear kind of gap in quality. Not to the point where it's literally you know, as if they are the team who are, outside the top 20 in FIFA ranking. It was the
Hmm.
same against Norway. I thought, um, if not for a goalkeeping error, they would have gone to penalties against Norway.
Yeah.
Who knows what could have happened there? Then Argentina, they kind of just they really showed. They really. I thought England were going to win. I thought they'd outrun them. I thought, like they have big, strong people, athletes in the team. I look at Argentina's team, and I think the same thing. I think it's an Asian team. I think it's a team that's highly dependent on Messi to create. And I just think it's a team almost waiting, almost begging to be part of the misery, to begging to be just beaten. They scraped past Cape Verde. They had to come back against Egypt.
That
And
was the blueprint. Cape Verde was the blueprint. You didn't see Cape Verde sitting back at any given time.
I mean, I think Cape Verde gave them a harder chance than England did. And it's
Exactly.
like, how can we be saying that? We're talking Harry Kane supposedly meant to be a Ballon d'Or contender. Jude Bellingham was getting shouts for being the best midfielder in the world. We know how hyped Declan Rice is. Elliot Anderson's 100 million, is 100 million, but like, it's crazy. But I mean, I think as poor as England were in terms of individuals, uh, Tuchel's tactics, I mean, he went full Gareth Southgate. They may as well have just
Yeah.
kept him. We also have to give much, much credit to Argentina for being able to come back again. Um, and also, not just that, but being able
No.
to come
No.
back within the by like they didn't even have to go to extra time. That's how on top
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's really it was real Messi. Like, what could we even like say about him? Two assists. The Enzo Fernandez assist was kind of. I mean, he's so unbelievably clutch, and I think I don't know.
Yes, yes. I agree with
I
the Enzo thing.
mean, like he doesn't always have a great. I think he's similar to Bellingham in a way. He doesn't have to have a great game. He can pop up with a
He's a
clutch
box crusher as well.
Bellingham.
He's a box crusher as well. I mean, like, he doesn't need to have a good game, one ball in, and then, oh, it's Enzo in. I mean, if you remember the Conference League final as well, I mean, we were rubbish, and then he just turns up. I mean, he's been clutch. He's come in when it looked dark, and
I mean, he's got like think of it. He's got such a good list. I mean, I don't know if you remember. He scored in that Mexico game back in 2022 when Argentina were on the brink of elimination. We've seen multiple goals for Chelsea. I mean, the winning against Egypt as well. Like, I mean,
yeah,
he's but he can do it in so many different ways. Headers, tap-ins. Like, I mean, that strike against Pickford. I heard a lot of people have given him a bit of stick for it because apparently I know Jude Bellingham should have been in the middle, but I don't know. It looked like a good strike to me.
I mean, it came through a lot of players as well. So
It's crazy about how much space he had. Like, I know Bellingham ended up clearing him, and better. I mean, it just comes back to they dropped far too deep. They were so deep and narrow and compact. It was always set up to fail. Uh, I just keep going back, thinking about going back to Messi, just how he was able to go. But I think they should have doubled him. Like, I just can't believe he had single coverage on players like Nico Riley or Anderson. It was crazy to see. Yeah.
Mm.
So, I mean, I don't know if you have anything else to say about the game. I don't about the.
No, it was sabotage, and England really had a go, and you could tell that Argentina did not have answers. But after that, yeah, it was just collapsed for England, and especially the system. Even the players, I said, they did not understand. They wanted, I'm sure, to go more forward. Why would you park your bus? Like, no, it was never gonna work. And any team that could have worked, maybe, but not against Argentina,
With
especially
Messi.
when they are
No,
exactly
not against
Messi.
Messi. Not even Argentina. Just not against Messi. Like,
Messi, give him space and room. He's gonna punish you, and that's
I think
exactly what he did.
playmaking is one of his greatest attributes, and you've just given him time and space to
Yeah,
create
to give him
chances.
space to do what he did. And to be honest with you, we are looking at a player that we're not gonna see again for a while. Actually, ever
I don't
again. We're
think
not
we'll
gonna
ever
see.
see another player like Messi ever. Like, I mean,
No,
especially at
no,
39. I mean, think about the players that he's compared to. I mean, Maradona was nowhere near doing this at 39. I
no.
mean, he retired at 37, something around that age. I mean, it's really crazy how he's and I mean, to think people used to say, would he be able to do it in England? But he completely dominated the entire nation. I mean, this was against fully. I mean, Jed Spence, Dan Burn, John Stones, Mark Gahey, um, Nico Wright. That's a Premier League back line. I mean, he completely decimated it at 39. I mean, I think at 39 he's better than a lot of all-time greats at 29. So
Yeah, and also I've seen the brilliance of Messi in this game. I have seen it. I've examined, and now the guy give him even a little bit, tiny bit of space, he'll punish you. That's exactly what he did.
he did.
Um, I do believe that they are the ones that are going to win the World Cup. I don't know why, but I've got a feeling they're the one that's going to win it.
I mean, I mean, I almost agree with you because it almost seems like it's just written for him to win again and again. Like he's too like so dominant in it as a kind of like he's always winning. He's won everything. He's won more than anybody else. He's still winning, and even at this age, I mean, he's put up arguably a better campaign than he did at the last World Cup. And it's just, how could he have done that?
You know, you have that quality in you, and this, no matter how hard you work, this guy has even one thing as well. He had to go through. I think his dad not being well. He had his own health issues because I followed his career from the beginning,
Yeah,
and he has never let anything step in the way. And we are, if he wins another World Cup, the debate Ronaldo and Messi is over, done. And I think he's over already because who can compete winning a World Cup? You know, so he has carried the team by himself, yes, but at the same time, he's had those qualities around him, and that's the difference between Portugal. The team did not play with Ronaldo or for him, and even though they have the quality, they did not showcase it as a union. And people forget football is a together team. You can't do it alone. And Argentina, they're playing pretty much like a very strong team. Yeah.
I agree with you. I think it is a team game. I think, of course, he's the highly dependent on, especially attacking wise. But I do think he makes his teammates better, which and he's an underrated leader. I think he's one of the best leaders you ever will ever see. Like you know,
Yeah, as I said,
kind
if he
of
wins the
carry
other
on
World Cup,
being that leader,
it's over. This
teammates
debate
better.
is over. The debate for me is done already anyway.
So we'll do our top three performers of the semi-final. I mean, of course, Messi just goes in. I mean, he's probably player of the tournament. I think he's probably secured player of the tournament at this World Cup as well, which would be a third time, which is a record in itself. So, I mean, he would obviously be best performer of this semi-final. Do you have any others?
So for me, I have to go with, yeah, Rodri. Seriously, it's just been incredible.
Okay.
Um, this guy has carried Spain single-handedly. I have to say Cucurella as well.
Gonna say I'll add Cucurella as well because
Yeah, the
he's
defense. I
just
mean, the what you bring to the defense, it's like I don't know, but the Spanish team they're all connected. I feel it's telepathy. They know where each other is. Sometimes I don't know if it's me, but when they pass the ball, I don't even feel they see, and they stop and see. They actually pass it, and the person is there. Wait, like I don't know, but seriously, yeah, those two players for Spain definitely top players.
fine. I think like I mean we discussed Messi. I think everybody's kind of anybody who didn't watch the game knows that he played a great game. I mean, he completely dominated, particularly that like Gordon after Anthony Gordon scored. I mean, I don't know if you've seen the stat. Like England only had like 12% possession. I mean, it was all dominated by Messi. I mean, he just kind of gets with that. I think that's one of his best ever, just because of the stage, the situation, his age. So Messi goes in there, and I think like, I agree with you. I think a handful of Spanish players could go in. You know, Daniel, Unai Simon. I agree with you with Rodri. Uh, finally, predict outcome. Spain.
I've said it, and I stick to it. Argentina still win.
Yeah, I agree. Messi's made me a believer. If you, I don't know. Yeah, I I don't know. I just don't who handle Messi in that. You know, I know Cucurella had a good tournament, but Messi will drop into different spaces, into the pockets, pick out, and he makes his teammates better. Well, I mean, you see, Martinez is scoring goals now. You know, Alvarez could, switch on and have a good game at any moment. Enzo Fernandez, of course, scores crucial goals. So I mean, I've become a believer as well. I see Argentina, I see Messi winning back-to-back World Cups, which is a insane feat at the ages of 35 to 39. It's crazy.